Hey, this is a really quick video. It's about exam timing. I think the biggest issue that people face with a history exam is not necessarily the knowledge, but the 1 hour 45 minutes that you have to do it in. Now, paper one, you're doing three sections. You're doing causes of World War One. You're doing peacekeeping and international relations, which is basically the Treaty of Versailles and the League of Nations, and you're doing the road to World War II, or as it's sometimes called, Hitler's foreign policy. Break your paper down into 35 minutes per section. You should know by now that each section has three questions in it. A 4-mark question, which will ask you to describe something. A 6-mark question, which will be a source-based question, which is a lot easier than you think it is, and a 10-mark question, which is an essay. Okay, the 4-mark questions. So you could be asked to describe the Moroccan crisis. You could be asked to describe the aims of the, like the Treaty of Versailles for disarmament. You could actually be asked, to describe the Nazi-Soviet Pact. Okay, you're going to get that question 3 times, once at the start of each section. Now it's worth 4 marks. You have 5 minutes to do it, and it's very simple what you do. You have 5 minutes to write down everything you know about what it's asking you. Okay, so what happened, why it happened, what the outcomes of it were, who was involved. You have 5 minutes. Okay, you have 5 minutes to write in as much detail everything you know about what it's asking. Okay, 5 minutes. So put as much time as you can, or as much detail as you can, sorry, in 5 minutes. Use facts. Facts are your friend. If you have been revising as you should have been, then put those facts down, show them. Right? It's that straightforward. The examiners want to give you 4 marks on this question, right? Get the 4 marks. On the on the second question in each section, you're going to get a source. Okay, and it's going to say that this source suggests a view. Do you agree? Okay, so basically what you can do, you've got 10 minutes to do this one. All right, so you've got 10 minutes on the second question on each section. It's worth 6 marks. 5 of those marks can be got by using your knowledge, right? So what I would suggest you do is you make an argument to show how you do agree and or disagree. Okay, if you just disagree, use the facts, right, and construct an argument against the source. If you agree, go beyond the source. Use your knowledge, use your facts, and say why you agree with whatever views in that source. If you're a bit of both, then it's simple. Argue why you agree using facts with the view, what the source is showing you, and then argue why you disagree. Now if you do that in any type of detail using correct facts, you're going to get 4, probably 5 marks out of 6. Right? So that's what you have to do. It's really a knowledge question. You're using your knowledge to argue for and or against whatever it's making the argument of in the source. It's asking you, do you agree with this? Say, right? The other thing you have to do in the question, which is harder, is to comment on the source. So if you see a source there and you're like, well, I know why this source has been written. It's obvious why it's been produced. It's been made in for example, there's this source where it's the British propaganda poster. It says the scrap of paper, and you could say, well, yeah, like actually this source here is made in 1914. It's to get men to think Germany are horrible or vile. It's biased in that respect. It's trying to get men to go and sign up for war by showing Britain as the good guys, so I can't quite trust it. Point out why the source was made, or if you see a bias there, explain what the bias is, right? And you will get marks. You can get 4 or 5 on that way, but it's just a lot harder to do so. But if you see that bias, talk about it. If you see the way the source is clearly being made and how it's affecting things, talk about it. You know, like if you've got Treaty of Versailles, and you've got German cartoons on newspapers criticising the Treaty of Versailles, I would say, you know, like, it's pretty obvious why it's being produced. It's also pretty obvious to say, well, you know, actually this is a pretty good view because it's shown how the German people really felt at that time. So I'll say it again, you're going to be given a source, it's going to ask you, you know, do you agree? So use your knowledge to agree and or disagree in as much detail as you can. If you can, talk about the reason why the source was produced, bias of the source, reasons why you don't trust the source as propaganda or something like that. Okay. And the last question on each section is worth 10 marks, so there's major marks here. You should spend 20 minutes on the essay for each section. So 5 minutes for the first question, 10 minutes for the second. That will leave you 20 minutes to deal with the essay. The essay will give you 2 bullet points. So at the end of each section, you're going to be asked something, and it's going to give you 2 bullet points. So classic, easy, you know, essay. Which was the bigger cause of tension leading to World War I? The Moroccan crises or the Bosnian crisis? You would be expected to talk about don't just try and focus on what happened, but think about how. For example, the Moroccan crises or crisis, depending on what they asked you, look at the wording very carefully. How the Moroccan crises have led to war. Why the Moroccan crises have led to war, right? How important were they? Because that's what the question's asking. And then do the same for the Bosnian crisis. How important? Why was it important? What was so important about it? What do you think? And then conclude. So you're really looking to have a 3-part answer, right? First bit, and it doesn't mean one paragraph, first bit dealing with one of the bullet points. So how is it important? Why is it important? Right, relating to the question. Is it important? But use your facts. Then with the second bullet point, again, how is it important? Why is it important? Is it important? Using facts. Yeah, a little bit of what happened should go in there, but you should be using facts to help you in your question. And then conclude which was more important and why. That really is it, folks, right? You're going to have 3 questions on each section, 5, 6. So 5 minutes for the 4-mark question, 10 minutes for the 6-mark question, 20 minutes for the 10-mark question. Use your timing, take a watch, and use it, because you're going to have 35 minutes per section, and that is the biggest enemy of people. One little tip. Sometimes you find that there's words in history are hard to spell. Sometimes they're on the paper, in the question itself. So I remember setting a question for, I think it was homework, and it was about Czechoslovakia. The amount of times I saw Czechoslovakia spelled wrong. It was in the question, it was in the actual bullet point for the essay. Use it. Okay? So, time it well, right? You'll have 35 minutes per section, 5, 10, 20. Remember, for the bullet point essay, talk about each bullet point. Discuss how and why it's important before you give your judgment. Okay, we've practiced these questions, you've done them to death. Now do them when it counts, okay? Good luck.